you see me? It says
Oh,
live.
it says live.
Yeah, it says it's live.
Let's go.
My hair. Dr. Ross doing the presentation. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
It says live.
Can you see how you can hear it? Yeah. Dr. Ross doing the presentation. Yeah. Making sure. Look at this lopsided bun. Is this live? Okay, let's stop. I don't want it. I just said it picks up every sound. Yeah, it's last year. Thank you for your interest in the Science Enrichment Preparation Program. The presentation will begin in several minutes. Thank you. And I need to make sure I look over here. Good afternoon. I am Dr. Borden, and I serve as the Associate Director for the Carolina Higher Education Opportunity Programs Office, also fondly known as the CHEOP Office, here at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. First, I'd like to begin by thanking you for your interest in the Science Enrichment Preparation Program, also known as S.E.P. Prior to me providing a backdrop, some of the nuts and bolts about the S.E.P program, I'd first like to provide you an understanding of our office and the nature of our mission and our vision. The CHEOP office, the Carolina Higher Education Opportunity Programs Office, is based here at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. The fabric of the students that we serve are first generation, lower socioeconomic, so students who may have a financial hardship, students that may come from a rural part of the state of North Carolina, and or be an underrepresented minority, African American, Hispanic, or American Indian, across the health professions or across the PhD pathway. We have 3 programs based in our office. So when you think about the CHEOP office, you really think about it as this big umbrella. And under the umbrella, you have 3 programs. First, we have the North Carolina Health Careers Access Program, also known as NCHCAP. And the NCHCAP, the mission for NCHCAP is to increase the number of students that are educated, trained, and ultimately employed across the health professions. So S.E.P is a signature college outreach program for the NCHCAP office. Therefore, this internship or summer enrichment experience is really there and put into place to help students gain the competitive edge for successful admission into the health professions. NCHCAP, we have a pipeline program. Therefore, we work with elementary all the way through high school students. And then once you're admitted into college, we continue to work with students and support you in reaching your health professional goals. The second program that we have is the Ronald E. McNair Post-Baccalaureate Program. That is for bright and talented students who are really interested in pursuing a PhD. And part of the beauty of the McNair Scholars Program is that you don't have to be on one specific track. Whether you may be interested in the social sciences or STEM, McNair is a wonderful opportunity for students to explore. So it's all about an introduction to research and learning how to be a competitive applicant for graduate school admissions. Here at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, you must be a student, a Tar Heel, a UNC student in order to apply for McNair. But I do want to recognize if you're not a student here at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, that McNair is a federally funded program. Therefore, I would encourage you to see if there is a McNair Scholars Program based at your respective campus. Finally, we have the Upward Bound program. That is working with students who are many of them first generation and part of the demographics that I've spoken about earlier, and helping them to get into college. We bring the students to the UNC Chapel Hill campus twice a month to talk to them about what college is like, for tutoring, to learn about how to finance their college education, and really, again, to help to put them on that college-bound trajectory. So the fabric, again, of the students that we serve, regardless of the program, they are first generation. Many of them are considered to be underrepresented minorities. Many of them are rural and or have a financial hardship, are socioeconomically disadvantaged. All the students that we work with are bright, talented, and motivated students. And myself, as well as all of our team here at the CHEOP office, love working with our students and supporting them to materialize their goals. I would like to say that our office is under the auspices of Dr. Rosalind Beecham Green, who serves as our director. Again, I serve as the associate director for the CHEOP office, and I also serve as the program director for the Science Enrichment Preparation Program. With that being said, I'd like to go ahead and transition more into some of the nuts and bolts about the S.E.P program. Should you have questions at any point along this presentation, then I would ask you to please send those questions to sepprogram@unc.edu. Again, any questions from beginning all the way to the end or following this presentation, should you have any questions, need clarification, please direct your inquiries to sepprogram@unc.edu. If you'll please give me just a moment, I'm going to transition to the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
I have not.
You have it up? Okay, great. Okay, so let me just backtrack a little bit. If you have questions right now, we're actually able to answer those live for you. So over the course of this presentation, should you have any questions, please email that. And I have my right hand here, Ms. LaQuaisha Good, who is very closely connected to the S.E.P program. She will answer those questions for you live. Following this presentation, should you have additional questions, then you should send those to the email address that I've provided to you. Okay? So hopefully everybody can see the PowerPoint presentation on their end. You see it?
Go to the corner.
Okay, so hopefully now everyone can see the PowerPoint presentation on their end. I'm essentially going to walk you through this presentation. Again, should you have questions, we'll be more than happy to answer those for you. Preparation. So this is the first slide, and that is because it is so important as undergraduate students who are planning to pursue the health professions that you prepare. I have no doubt that everyone that is a part of this, this PowerPoint presentation are bright and talented and well-rounded students who are really hungry to want to go into the health professions. But it's important that you remember that there are bright and talented and well-rounded students on your respective campuses. There are bright, talented, and very competitive students across the state of North Carolina and nationally. So it's very important that you prepare and you do everything that you possibly can to have that competitive edge. And it's very important for you to remember that that competitive edge is not only defined with regard to your GPA, but leadership, your involvement in extracurricular activities, your exposure through clinical shadowing. It can be defined in so many ways. So again, we want to start first with preparation because that really is very key in order for you to be a competitive applicant for admission into a health professional program. Now, with S.E.P, how do we help you to develop that competitive edge? Well, we do that by offering 4 core courses, and really it's in total it's going to be 5. Students will participate in organic chemistry. They will participate in a human physiology course. They will take a course in physics, as well as biostatistics and a quantitative skills course. We offer those courses because those are prerequisites to almost any health professional program that you would plan to apply in the United States. You are required to take human physiology. You are required to take organic chemistry, physics, and the quantitative biostatistics. The only exception to the rule are for some of our pre-nursing folks. They may not have to take physics, for example, or organic chemistry. But outside of nursing, you will be required to take those courses for review by an admissions committee. You must take all of those courses. So if there are some of you, for example, that are taking human physiology, now you will have to take it over the course of S.E.P. So you can't pick and choose which course you may like to take. You will be required to take all 4 courses. In terms of our faculty, there are all hold PhDs. So there's a very strong mastery in the curriculum. All of our faculty, many of our faculty, have worked with the S.E.P program over a number of years. They are very committed to student success and to ensure that students receive as much support as possible. We also hire program assistants. It's very similar in the way that you might think about a TA, a teaching assistant, but we call them program assistants because there are other things that they do as well as being in the classroom. But those program assistants are available to you to go over the curriculum. They can do that through one-on-one tutoring. They can also do that through small group tutoring. And our program assistants hold what we call supplemental instruction. The acronym for that is SI, where they will go over the curriculum that the faculty provided during their lecture. So we really try to be very proactive in making sure that our students have a strong command on the curriculum itself. And that's a picture of some of our S.E.P students. One thing that I also want to mention, just to kind of piggyback on the previous slide, is that all students will be quizzed and tested in each one of those courses. So let me back up for a moment, just to refresh your mind, your memories in terms of what those courses are. In each one of those 4 courses, you will be quizzed and tested. Therefore, at the end of the program, you will earn a letter grade, A through F, very similar to the landscape of summer school. That at the end of the program, you will earn an academic transcript, and that transcript may be forwarded to any health professional program that you apply in the United States. Therefore, if I were an admissions committee member here at UNC and I received your transcript, I would be able to see your letter grade for human physiology, the letter grade for organic chemistry, etc. All of our students will also be ranked amongst one another. So for this summer, we plan to admit, let's say, around 40 to 45 students. If we had a cohort of 45 students, each student would be ranked amongst one another, and your admissions committee will be able to see how you perform in comparison to your peers. Now, that might sound a bit intimidating, but I promise you that this program is very much designed to position you in a positive light, so that admissions committee members can really understand the rigor of S.E.P. They can see how you performed. And again, this is a program that will supplement what you're doing at your respective institutions, helping you have that competitive edge that I previously spoke about. Individualized academic support. We recognize that in order to be a good student, in order to be a competitive applicant, there are a lot of different moving pieces that we have to put into place to really help you be the best you that you can possibly be. Therefore, during the S.E.P program, reading, speed, and comprehension, those are all very important components to the program. So for example, when you sit and you take the GRE, or the MCAT, or the DAT, or the PCAT. Now, for most of you, you should be familiar with those acronyms. The GRE is required for many students who apply to allied health science disciplines, or the PA program, physician assistant. MCAT, that's the acronym should you apply to medical school. DAT, that is the admissions test that you would take for dental school, and the PCAT is the admissions test for pharmacy school. It's not only important that you have a command on the curriculum so that ideally you can perform successfully, but it's important that you're able to read at a fast pace so that you can complete the test itself prior to your time expiring. So that's why, for example, we have a reading speed and comprehension piece to the S.E.P program. We also go over successful kind of study skill strategies, how to be an effective note taker. Again, anything that we feel will be very helpful to you to be the strongest and the best student that you can possibly be. All students are also required to meet with me at least one-on-one over the course of the 8-week program. We will not only talk about your academic kind of progress and performance in the S.E.P program, but it really provides a very informal opportunity for us to get to know each other better, for me to understand your health career goals, your health career dreams, connecting you to individuals at UNC Chapel Hill that I think would be great for you to network with, and beyond, not just at UNC, but again, just to talk about admissions, how to be competitive, and just for us to get to know one another. So it is required over the course of the program that we meet at least one-on-one to talk about your goals and to really see post-S.E.P how we can be of support to you. Exposure. Exposure is so very important. And let's talk about how the S.E.P program helps to provide exposure opportunities for you. For many of our students who come in S.E.P, they may have a general interest in the health professions, but they're not quite sure. There's so many different exciting pathways that are available. You don't really know how to pick and choose, or you may not really be informed about the different pathways that are available to you. Medicine, for example, is a wonderful pathway to pursue medical school, but there are so many other great disciplines as well, such as physician assistant, nursing, pharmacy, dentistry, public health, dual degree programs such as the MD, PhD. So part of an important component to the S.E.P program is to make sure that you have exposure to the different health professional pathways that are available to you. How do we do that? So the way that we do that is over the course of the 8-week program, students will tour all the health science schools at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. For example, we have a School of Medicine, pharmacy, dentistry. We have a Department of Allied Health Sciences. We have a School of Nursing, School of Social Work. Those are examples of some of the health professional pathways that are available even just at our university. You will have a chance to meet with health professional school leadership, current health professional students, to ask them about what they did or what they would do differently if they had the chance to kind of do it over again. You'll have mentorship opportunities. So the whole purpose of these seminars and tours is to make sure that you have exposure to the different health professional pathways that are available. We also have our students visit, tour, and network with individuals at Duke University School of Medicine, the Duke School of Medicine Physician Assistant Program, the National Institute for Environmental Health Sciences to learn more about research, how research is connected to the practice of the health professions, and the NC State School of Veterinary Medicine, and even more. So again, my point is that you will have much exposure to the different health professional pathways that are available to you. Part of doing that too, for some of you that may be listening and say, well, I know I want to be a pediatrician, for example, and that's just throwing an example out there. We want you to understand the intersectionality between your interests and how that correlates to patient care overall. So for those of you that may be listening and you know for beyond a shadow of a doubt what you would like to do, it's still important for you to learn about pharmacy, dentistry, public health, etc., because that impacts your patient. Your patient's health and their overall care is not just based on your experiences with them. There is a whole healthcare team, and therefore it's very important for you to understand the different aspects of the intersections of the health professions and how that impacts your patient. So no matter what, this is going to be great exposure for you. During those seminars and tours, there are opportunities for hands-on activities to really engage and learn about the different disciplines. And we have individuals who will also come to your classroom, speak to students about the importance of cultural competency, speak to our S.E.P scholars about health disparities. If you're not sure what those are, it's gaps in equity, to talk about the importance of each and every one of our scholars that sit in the classroom being a positive agent in removing or at least reducing many of those gaps across the quality of care for patients. So tours, workshops, and seminars are in place to provide those exposure opportunities. This is an example of two of our students that are shadowing a dentist, and the dentist, the gentleman on your right, is an S.E.P alum who is currently practicing in Durham, North Carolina. Shadowing and networking. I hope that everyone who is listening to my voice right now has shadowed a healthcare practitioner at some point. If you have not, I cannot emphasize enough that if you're interested in going to the health professions, the importance for you to making sure that you are exposing yourself to the profession at large. So that's an important component to the S.E.P program. All of our scholars will have the opportunity to shadow over the course of the 8-week program. You will shadow based on your specific area of interest in the health professions. So if you are interested in dentistry, you will shadow a dentist. If you are interested in dentistry and public health, we will try to help you to get that exposure to dentistry and oral care, how that correlates to public health. So those are examples. So you will not randomly be assigned clinical shadowing rotations. It will be specifically customized to your specific area of interest. Now, I always like to emphasize to students, the S.E.P program is not a clinical shadowing program. It is a complement to the overall experience that you will have over the course of the 8 weeks. S.E.P very much is an academic program. The majority of your time will be spent in class. It's about making sure that you have an expert command on the curriculum that we offer, because for many students, they can't get past that organic chemistry successfully. For many students in the sciences, it's hard to get through physics. So our purpose is to make sure that we help to remove that gatekeeping aspect to those courses. So it's very much an academic program, but the shadowing, I would say students will shadow at least 5 times, 6 times over the course of the 8-week program. When you shadow, we also try to provide an opportunity for sustained mentorship over the course of the 8 weeks. So we will match you with current healthcare professionals and students so that you can meet with them over coffee, over lunch, so that you can ask them questions, network, and again, learn more about the profession at large. You will also participate in the Larry D. Keith Health Professions Recruitment Fair. This year, I believe that will be held on the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill's campus. It alternates every year with Duke and UNC Chapel Hill. That will provide an opportunity for you to learn even more about mock interviews, the do's and don'ts, for you to participate in panel presentations on the specific health professional pathway that you are interested in, to hear from key administrative leadership, faculty, and current health professional students about the pathway that you're interested in. In addition to that, near the end of the program, there is a recruitment fair, and you will have the opportunity to network with recruiters from all across the United States, to introduce yourselves, to ask questions about their respective institutions, to network, and ideally this helps you as you begin to apply to not just be a piece of paper, but for individuals to know who you are as they consider you for admission into their health professional school. So this is an example in terms of what S.E.P looks like on a day-to-day basis. You can see with our attendance policy that unless it is a medical emergency or you have a doctor's appointment, you're expected to be on time and in class and fully engaged in the lectures. You can also see the class schedule, what a Monday and a Wednesday would look like, what your Tuesdays and Thursdays, as well as your Fridays. Please note that on Fridays, you will get out of class earlier in the day. but you will still be engaged in some type of structured activity through S.E.P. Oftentimes we take our students on tours, off-campus tours, or we'll have someone come and speak to our students. But you can see that the days are long, but really the S.E.P program is all about challenging you, and the way that you enter the program and the way that you exit the program. We want you to have a renewed spirit in how you return to your respective institutions, to be well prepared, and again, to have that competitive edge that is so essential in order for you to be a competitive applicant. So again, the following slide helps to provide you an understanding and a little bit of insight in terms of what your day-to-day schedule would look like when you are an S.E.P scholar. You'll also see in terms of holidays, on 4th of July, Memorial Day, whenever our university is closed, we will not hold class. What are some of the perks? What are some of the benefits of the S.E.P program? Well, if you think about it, essentially, you're getting paid to learn. The S.E.P program is all about that competitive edge, and over the course of the 8-week program, you'll receive a competitive stipend that will help to offset the cost for your meals. So here at the university and with the S.E.P program, we don't offer you a meal plan per se, but through that stipend, it will cover, it factors in at least 3 meals a day in order for you to eat on a daily basis. We also provide free on-campus housing for our students. So S.E.P is not just for UNC Chapel Hill students. It's for any student across the United States who, again, really is ready to work hard in terms of developing that competitive edge. Any rising sophomore or junior undergraduate student that's currently enrolled in a college or university. So you don't have to worry about where you're going to stay. We'll take care of all of that for you, and you will live on our campus. And all educational materials are provided to our students free of charge. We will have you borrow organic chemistry sets, scientific calculators, textbooks for each one of your courses, notebooks, pens, paper, anything that you will need in terms of your educational materials are provided to our students free of charge. So you don't have to worry about purchasing for anything out of pocket. The S.E.P program will provide that to you free of charge. So I've talked about some of the academic aspects of the S.E.P program, but it's always important to show this slide too because it's a lot of fun. Every year our students, our scholars, and our PAs compete against the faculty, and it's all about building a community and getting to know one another. And we tell students on the first day, look to your right, look to your left, because it's all about family. That is the type of community that we aim to cultivate in the S.E.P program. So when you first start, you may not know the person to your left or your right, but at the end of the program, we are very much a community, and you are officially part of the S.E.P program family. So over the course of the summer, you will again work with 2 program assistants. There's at least one program assistant that will be assigned to your respective course. It's all about, again, building friendships and getting to know one another. Every student that's selected for the S.E.P program have very similar goals. They work hard. They want to be competitive. They want to do everything they can to have that competitive edge. And while you do that, you're creating that climate of community and friendship with one another. We have a talent show. We have volleyball competitions with each other. So again, it's a lot of fun. So the program, is it work? Absolutely. But is there more to it as well? Absolutely. You're going to have a great time. We also have a signature community service event. In the past, it has been the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure, where we will go and participate and do everything that we can in terms of the race operations. So we serve as volunteers. This year, it will probably be something different, but it's very nice for everyone to kind of have a heads up in advance that there's a signature community service project that all students will participate in. Program eligibility. So please pay very careful attention to this slide because there's no need in you applying to the S.E.P program if you don't necessarily meet all the requirements. Or again, I want to make sure too that you should be applying to summer programs that are the best fit in terms of what you're looking for in terms of developing and growing as a student. To participate in the S.E.P program, you must be a rising sophomore and junior. That means currently you are a freshman or you are a sophomore enrolled in a college or university. Those students will receive preference. I have had students who are current juniors ask me, Dr. Borden, can I apply to the program? You can apply to S.E.P, but I always like to be very candid and transparent that the majority of our cohort will be comprised of sophomores and juniors. You will have to have taken, by the time you start the program, at least 3 credit hours in chemistry, biology, and any college level math. Now, if you are currently enrolled in chemistry, for example, you are fine to apply to the S.E.P program. When you apply, you don't have to have taken all these courses during the application. It means that by the time you start S.E.P in May of 2017, you will have taken at least 3 credit hours in chemistry, biology, and any college level math. And as you can see on the PowerPoint slide, AP credit is accepted. You must have a minimum GPA of a 3.0. Okay, so you can see it says minimum 3.0 science or overall GPA. The average GPA of the students that we accept in the S.E.P program annually is a 3.4 to 3.5. We provide that just as a benchmark for you to see that it's a very competitive program. What I do tell folks is, if you are very passionate about S.E.P and you are just under that 3.0 requirement, I would encourage you, you could still apply to the program, but you need to include a separate letter that talks about what has contributed to your GPA not being at kind of our benchmark requirement. So for example, we have had students who have had a parent that might have passed. Or another example is that we have a student who might have worked a full-time job in addition to being enrolled at their respective institutions. Those are important details for us to know. So should you want to apply and you are just under that requirement, we encourage you to submit a letter that will help to outline that for the admissions committee. And finally, you can see that you are required to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Okay, so again, the following slide helps to cover program eligibility. The application, a lot of questions that we get is, what does the application look like for those of you that have not started the application to date? The majority of it is online. It does require a personal statement, and we do give you specific prompts that you will need to answer. We require 2 science faculty appraisal forms. Those 2 faculty appraisal forms must be completed by science faculty. If you are a freshman in college, you may submit 1 faculty form to one of your high school science teachers, but the other one must come from a college or university faculty. Okay? If you are a sophomore, the expectation is 2 science faculties for appraisal forms from your faculty at your respective institution. Okay? We also require 1 letter of recommendation from a professional that knows you well. Professional knowing you well means that it does not necessarily have to be a faculty member. Or if they are faculty, it doesn't have to be a science faculty individual. It could be a mentor. It could be someone that you've shadowed over the years. So it's anyone that knows you well that's not a family member. It could be an academic advisor, etc. We also require that students submit official transcripts. Please keep in mind that if you're enrolled, for example, at UNC Chapel Hill, and you've taken summer school coursework at North Carolina Central University, we will need to see your transcripts, not only from the institution that you are currently enrolled, but any institution that you have studied in the past. If you have transferred from an institution, we will want to see the transcript from your previous institution and your current institution that you're enrolled. So official transcripts essentially for anywhere that you've studied as an undergraduate student. We require financial aid information that will come in 3 forms, 1 of 3 forms. You don't have to submit all 3, 1 of 3 forms. 1 form is your parents' 1040 tax form if your parents claim you on their taxes. We will only need to see their form from last year, so you don't have to wait to submit your parents' tax forms from after they file for this year. Last year's is sufficient. Again, that's their 1040 tax form. We also will need to see your student aid report. That's another option that you can submit, or your FAFSA form. Any one of those 3 is sufficient because it will provide us the information that we need. Again, please remember that the part of the demographics that we recruit for in the S.E.P program are students who have financial hardships, students who are first generation, students who come from rural backgrounds. Those pieces, those documents that I outlined prior to, help to demonstrate that information on you. So that's why we require that. And finally, we require a photograph. Students, please submit a headshot. Okay, we don't want photos of you standing next to your friend where we don't know who was who. We want to see something that is professional in nature and polished. So be very mindful in terms of what kind of picture that you submit online. But again, the photograph is another piece that's required for students to submit as part of your application. Dates, so please mark your calendars. These are very important to know. The application deadline for the S.E.P class of 2017 is March 6th at midnight. The application will close at midnight, so it's important that your application is submitted by that deadline. Now, the exciting thing is that the application is currently live. It's been live since October. Therefore, we are reviewing applications as we speak. Our commitment, what we strive to do, is within 10 business days to give you a response. Your response will come via email, and it will either be an acceptance letter, it will either provide you notification that you have been waitlisted, or that you have unfortunately been declined from the program. But you will know your status, and that's what's most important. I encourage all students who apply to the S.E.P program who are not admitted to contact me. I would love to talk to you more, learn more about your goals, and also to give you feedback in terms of why you were not selected into the program. I think that's very important knowledge for you to know, because oftentimes what we may see as admissions committee members as areas for growth and development is not the exception to the rule with S.E.P, but how people kind of from a broad perspective would review your application. So we want to give you that feedback. And you can see below that the program dates are May 20th through July the 14th. So hopefully this helps to provide you an overview of the S.E.P program. I know that Ms. Good has been online answering questions live, and we appreciate your questions. Again, should you have additional questions, please direct those inquiries to sepprogram@unc.edu. And Ms. Good or myself will follow up with you to answer those for you. Again, the S.E.P program is all about students developing that competitive edge. It's so essential for admission into health professional school programs. We hope that you will apply to the program, and we really look forward to working with each and every one of you. Please don't hesitate also to contact us by phone at 919-966-2264. And again, that number is 919-966-2264. And Ms. Good or myself will be more than happy to speak with you. Again, thank you so much for your time and your attention. We wish you the very best, and we look forward to welcoming you as a part of the class of 2017. And this concludes the S.E.P presentation. Thank you.